Okay, I got this one mic, handheld 8. Oh, you can't see that. Okay, that's fine. Keep it at the screen. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this mic, copy this channel, and then copy it over to the other one. So now I have 2 identical channels. Check 1, 2. Hey. Okay. 2 identical channels. So there's a channel right here. This is the original channel. Check 1, 2. Hey. It's right here. Okay. And then I copied it over to here. So this is the second channel right here. Check 1, 2. Yeah. So both of them on. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. One of them on. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. One of them on. Both of them on. So when 2 identical signals arrive at the same time with the same amplitude. Remember, the key is time. The term phase has to do with time, right? People say, what phase is this building project? In the front, in the first, or what phase is, when a woman's pregnant, first trimester, second trimester, it has to do with time. So when they arrive at the same time with same amplitude, which is same loudness, and then they sum. So it's the equivalent of adding, or equivalent to of a volume knob, basically, right? So right now, one mic. This is the volume for one mic. You see that? It's just that mic right there. Okay. Now, if I turn on this one and turn that off, boom, same thing. It sounds the same because now this channel is on and that channel is off. Right? So, together, they're louder. Right? So, people use the term phasing and the term use phase flip. That's actually a misnomer. Phasing can interact and cause polarity. So basically, the flip button right there, the circle with a slash. People say that's a phase flip button, right? You know, like when you say when you mic a snare, top snare, bottom snare, you phase flip the bottom. Let's not use that term phase flip. The correct term is polarity flip. A polarity, polar, electrical polar, plus and minus, right? A sine wave, when it oscillates, the first half is in the positive polarity, and right, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and then now the next phase would be in the negative polarity, right? 270, 360. Okay, so polarity has to do with sign, S-I-G-N, a battery, plus and minus. That's a polarity, right? Phase has to do with time, relationship, right? So when you say, when there's only one signal available, and you say that signal is phasing, no, it can't be. As if it's a single signal, it's not going to phase because it's not going to phase with itself. Phase has to do with something in relation, or is arriving at a different time than something else. Okay? Case in point, 2 mics with, with identical source, like what you were saying, a handheld mic and a choir mic from the same person. The person talking to this mic is a few inches away, versus talking on the choir mic 3 feet away. Well, the voice that arrives at that 3 feet away is going to arrive later than the one arriving 2 inches away, right? So when you have waveforms arriving at a different time, they sum and they add. If they're both in positive polarity, the resultant is doubling, which is right now, right? One mic, both mic. You get doubling, okay? You get 6 dB doubling. Now, when two signals with the opposite polarity, with the same time and same amplitude, which is loudness, let's demonstrate that. I'm gonna polarity flip one of them. Check 1, 2. What happened to my signal? It canceled completely out. Look, if you want to get up and look on the channel, both of them are still on. If I mute one of them, hey, that one you can hear. If I mute this one you can hear. But if both of them are on, they're gone. Okay? Now, that is if they are identical volume and 180 degrees opposite polarity. Okay? So, if they're not identical volume, what happens? They're not going to completely cancel out. I'm going to pull one of them down. Check 1, 2, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Now, they're going to start to come back. But they do interact, because if I mute this, you're going to have uninhibited, and with it, as it gets closer, it's gone. And if you increase it, as you increase it, then this one wins. Check 1, 2, then it's back. Okay? So, one tool, if you want to know whether two things are equal volume, like let's say you want to balance, is the gain of the amp of the left is the same as the right? Well, how you do that? You send a sine wave to both sides, flip the polarity on one of them, and you gain it until they disappear. Right? So check 1, 2, check 1, 2, check 1, 2 until they disappear. Okay, then you know they're equal level, because you flip the polarity on it. And then once they're equal level, flip the polarity back, then you get the perfect summation. Let me demonstrate phasing. So one more time, let me copy this so we have the exact same volume. Okay? Channel copy. Source. Check 1, 2. Okay. I am going to... Okay. So now, if you want to check, channel 44 is not polarity flipped. Normal polarity. Channel 40, normal polarity. Okay? So they're summing right now. Right? You get the summation. So let's say on channel 44, temp mic, yeah. You start delaying it. Check 1, 2, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Hey. Oh, sorry. Hey. Hey. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. That's what you would... Well, you hear two discrete signals, but if they're just barely out of phase. Out of phase. Check 1, 2. That's the sound that you hear. That's two identical signals arriving at a different time, because channel 44 is arriving 1.74 milliseconds later than this one, than channel 40. If I mute channel 40, then it's going to sound fine. Hey, 1, 2, normal. If I mute channel 44 and bring back channel 40, then it's fine. But together, they interact. They take away some, they add some. So it's like two sine waves superimposed, and when as they move apart, the positives is going to add, but once one of them goes negative and one's positive, they also sum, they also add. So if they're 180 degrees complete from each other, they sum to 0. Okay? So, which is why, remember, sound interacts the most when they're equal level, and that's why, like, when you here's what happens. A lot of churches, they be like, well, we need more sound, so why don't we just add another speaker right there, right next to it, right? Exactly. So, adding another speaker. So, guess what happens? When you add another speaker. What's up, Kel? Come on in. How you doing, brother? Chilling. So imagine you add another speaker right here, right? And somebody's sitting right here. So they get the first tweeter arriving at X time. Right here. Yeah, they'll catch me from the second camera. They get the first speaker arriving at X time, and then the speaker next to it is going to arrive at X plus something, right? Because it's going to arrive at a different time. So you're not improving the situation. You're just mucking with the sound. So now you end up with what you just heard, phasing. So that's why, like, coverage of speakers is very important. You don't want too many overlaps, but you also don't want dead zones where there's no coverage. Okay? Eldridge is a situation right now that we're trying to deal with because the speakers are kind of aimed. They're actually aimed at the front of house position in the balcony. So it sounds great up there. It really does, right? Boom. And you notice too at Eldridge in the back wall, there's foam all over in that back. Because there's the aiming of those speakers, the energy is hitting that back wall, spraying that back wall. Really, for what? No one's standing on the wall, right? People are down there on the ground. So the people in the ground can't hear, but up there is nice and present. All the high end is, remember, high end is very direct, right? So we're in the process of right now trying to re-aim those. Aim it down and maybe add another speaker for the second half of the house. So aiming is very important. And if there are overlaps, it needs to arrive at the same time. Which means if you have speaker right there, I'm sitting over here, people in the front row can hear okay. Well, few rows back, it's not okay. It's way too low, right? But who do you please? If you want to please people in the back because they complain they can't hear, the people in the front are bleeding. So what you have to do, you have to add a delay speaker. Like over here, you have in the front, and in the middle, and in the back. Well, they call it the delay speaker because the second set of speaker will need to be delayed to start when the sound from the first one arrive at that point. So that way they will then continue together. That's also another important thing for sound practitioners to do. Pay attention. That's the most important thing. Sometimes it's better than the quality of your mix. Pay attention. If a mic is not on when pastor walks up, it doesn't matter if your mix sounds great. You're still fired. Yeah. Pay attention, quick to react, and slow to anger. Slow to anger. Because sometimes performers, they're in the moment, and their creative juices are going, and then something happens and it hits them the wrong way, and they give you a look, right? Just slow to anger.
Sound technician's a tough job.
Tough job. Yeah.
Can't please everybody.
Right.
You have a service and you have 3,000 people. That's 6,000 ears.
Right. And guys, I tell this to anybody that wants to listen to me. No matter what happens, even in your career, there's going to be situations where they're not going to call you back. You just did a bad job, right? It's just, it's just going bad. Believe it or not, this still happened to me like last year. Now, it's for reasons beyond my control. For example, we didn't get into the building until like 3 hours before the show. Lighting guys have to come in first. They got to do their trusses and all that. I only got half an hour to do everything. So I thought they're going to delay the show. No. Pastor walks up. He's like, it's 7 o'clock. Let's start. I'm like, what? Okay. And it's bad. You know it's bad. Do not walk away. Even though you know you're fired. Finish the show. Finish the show, all right? Be professional. There's nothing worse than your reputation of, he walked out in the middle of his show and left everybody high and dry. Don't do that. Finish the show. With a smile or not. I mean, at least, don't be cussing people out, right? Yeah. Right. But, make sure. And oftentimes, situation might be bad in the beginning, but it's how you recover and how you finish the show is what people will remember. So pre-post fader sin. Oh, that's important. Pre-post fader sins. Okay. When to use? How many of you have seen that pre and post fader sins? Right? Yes. So, okay. In a channel strip, let's go with a simple analog console. This is a channel strip. And usually, right below the equalizer, there are sends, right? So a signal comes in from the top. You send it to stereo, which is your left and right, goes to the house. But you can also send it to these auxes, right? You use these auxes for monitors, use these auxes for recording devices, use these auxes for reverb, right? So in these sins, there's pre and there's post. What does that mean? Before and after. Before and after what? Before and after fader. Okay? So, where does the signal leave the main fader? Is it after the fader or is it before the fader? Okay? So, to see it, but this board provides a way to see it really well. Let's see this mic right here. My mic. Yep. So let's say send right here. A channel. On the direct out, actually, it's a send. Direct out is also a send. Direct out is basically a form of send. But over here, you can see, if I put the direct out, if I turn it on, if I send it somewhere, or if I set it to go somewhere, if I put it right here, then that's after fader. You see that? The tap point is after fader. So basically, whatever level that I set on the fader in the house, if I bring it up or down, it's going to affect how much that gets sent to that send. Okay? Since that's the fader, if I put it over here, then it's still pre-fader, but it's post-EQ and dynamics, which is good. It's pre-fader, but it's still after your EQ and dynamics. That means you can EQ for that person on stage. But it's pre-fader so that the amount that you send leaves before your main fader for the house. So you can mix in the house to your heart's content. It's not going to affect the monitor send. That's really important. When you're mixing one console for front of house and monitor, for the monitor, most of there's no absolute in sound. Most of the time, you want it to be pre-fader. The mic send pre-fader. So that way, whatever that you send out, and once that person says, okay, that's good right there, And then in the house, you feel like certain things, you want to bring it down, you want to bring it up. It's not going to affect that. If that goes up and down with your mix, when there's an emotional strong point and you want to increase it in the house, well, you did your ring outs. When you increase it in the house, it's going to bring it up in the monitor, you're going to have feedback, right? Because, again, my personal philosophy is always give your talent the most you can give them right off the bat. Don't even play games with them. You know, a lot of people, like, they reserve a little bit so that when he asks more, I can give more. No, look, if I ring it out really aggressively, and I can blast them pretty much. I can really, like, when they talk, it can be like so loud. They will never ask for more. They really don't. But there are tricks to do that. Yeah. So now y'all need to develop that EQing and all that so that you can do that. And if you can do that, they're going to love you for it. You know, you're going to keep getting called back. So once you do your ring out and you know this is pretty much the most you can give them, leave it there, pre-fader. And you manage the send from on and off. Now, the beauty about having a separate monitor and front of house console is I can set it all post-fader. The reason being is I'm not using these faders to mix some kind of, mix for recording or whatever. What I do, if it's a monitor console, the first thing I do, I set my fader to be at 0. That's the standard. Before I even send it to the monitors. Set it at 0. For example, let's say this mic, let's say the sends on fader to music choir pass. Okay? Let's say, hypothetically, people here in Queenston knows pass is the monitor at front of house. Well, actually, you know what? Now this is a front of house scene, so it doesn't have that monitor scene. But hypothetically, let's say pass is that pastor's monitor, right? So this is a flip mode. Let me see here. Pass is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So I would bring it up on 11. Or let's use 13 for example, because that's a variable sin. I would bring it up on 13 and I'll set it to be post fader. So let's say that ends up at -9. Everybody can see that? -9? Okay. So when this mic is at 0 on the fader, it is -9 dB sent to that particular mix, which is mix 13. If it's set post fader. And how you know that? When you hit it, the pre is not lit up. That means it's post fader. Everybody with me? Okay. So when this mic is brought down to -5, guess what that sin is? It's -9 -5, right? So it's -14. It goes up and down together. So that way, when the talent's like, give me a little bit more, you can just take the fader and go, boop. You went up just a little bit. It brings it up over there too. But you always know, you can always go to where's your baseline? 0. If you bring it up 0, it's there. And when the talent leaves, slam it down, it's gone. Yeah. Yeah, if you're already at the edge, at -9 sen, right? -9 to that sen, with the fader at 0, post fader. Yeah, if you bring it up on the fader, you will feedback, or you can feedback.
But that's why you say you bring it out as high as possible. So most of the time that unit is 0, you're pretty much giving them
all you can give. Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. I give them every ounce that I can give them right off the bat. You know, and make sure it's safe. So you test every possible permutation. You cup it. You swing your head around. Whatever. Find all that feedback. Find the frequencies. Start notching it out. Do whatever. Do the parallel compression, which I'll go through a little bit later. And once once it's nice and present and loud, then that's where you go. So you can, during service, our monitor guys here knows, right? All you have to do is bring stuff to 0, done. There's no guesswork. 0, infinity. 0, infinity. You're done. Because if you do it pre-fader, and somebody, let's say it's pre-fader. That means, the fader is at 0, and then you do a send to 13 at minus 26, hypothetically, right? And then they ask for more. But you forgot. I mean, a knob is hard to see. So minus 26, you went to minus 23, you went up 3 dB. And then, how do you bring it back? You don't know how much to bring it back. You have to recall, right? But if you do it on a post fader, yeah, you can go up plus 5. You already know if you go back to 0, you're back to where you started. So now here's another thing that I want to go through as far as habits. There are places where this doesn't matter so much. There are places that it does, and over here it does. I mean, yeah, you have to bring out mics when they're done. They need to be out. Front of the house, when service is over, choir mics got to be down. All mics got to be down. We can't have a guitar player unplugging a guitar and it'll still be up. Boom, that just doesn't sound so. Doesn't sound very professional, because then that tells me, yeah, you forgot to mute it. In the monitors, right? If a talent leaves the stage, the mic's got to be down. For me, my personal preference, rather than unmuting, I like to bring stuff up, down, up, down. That gives me a visual cue. What is up right now? What is down right now? Right? Rather than that. And then in the heat of the moment, you got to go, oh, okay, boom, boom, boom. You got to do that. So, here's the thing. Put your instruments on a DCA or a VCA. That way, if you're on the DCA mode, right? Let me see here. Okay, we're done with smart for now. You got your levels the way you want it for the service with the VCA at 0 or whatever, right? I put it on VCA, and when I mix, I stay in the VCA. I mix with the VCA, right? Most of you already done that. But after service, done. I don't mess with these individual levels. They stay there. For the next service, I just bring it back up. The VCA makes it easy. If you set, before you set these levels, if you put your VCA at 0 first as a baseline, and then start getting your levels, once you get your levels, the VCA is at 0. So when you're done, right? Because here's the thing, though. In the heat of the moment, when you have to, you have to go just whatever your primal instinct is, and if it's something is up, you can see it. Boom, rather than that. I mean, you got to look at which one's on, which one's not, right? Bottom line is this, y'all. Whoever's driving has the license to do whatever you feel necessary. Okay? Because if you fail, it's you that gets blamed. Right? So, I'm a firm believer, if I'm driving, you can make suggestions, but ultimately it's my decision. Okay? And here's another no-no. Okay? And we do this, if you have a relationship with them, it's one thing. You don't reach over somebody and adjust somebody's board while they are mixing. Yes. That's a matter of respect. Okay. The first priority I give, to people is, number one, you have to be able to hear yourself clearly. That's number one. Now, as far as your want to hear everybody else around you, that's second priority to me. Because me being a keyboardist, right? If I'm disciplined enough, I can, as long as I hear myself, and even if I don't have the lead vocal in my monitor, I can hear it in the house or I can hear it in the air somewhere. That's song positioning for me. I can follow the leader. As long as you can do that, I'm fine. Now, some people are less disciplined. They want a CD mix on their monitor. They want everything, horns, choir, that's the problem. And that's why we go to these Avioms and, Me ones and all that, these P16s. That way, you can mix to your heart's content. You put whatever you want in your ears, and it won't be a problem. At Eldridge, currently right now, that's still a problem with them wanting, especially the drummer needs to hear Aubrey, do you put choir in the drum monitors? Okay. Does he? It's because he wants it.
Yeah. He said he wants to hear everything.
Okay.
I don't agree with that, but
Yeah.
he wants them down there.
So y'all understand now. I explained with the phasing situation, right? The more signal you send everywhere, the more they're going to arrive at people at different times, right? And your intelligibility goes down because you have phasing everywhere. So if the big churches like Lakewood has no monitors at all. All ears, all in ears. The stage is clean, no wedges whatsoever. And everything sounds super tight, super controlled, it's clean. Now, should we go that route? I don't know. That's a decision, but you manage. What we have over here, it's a good balance. We really have high quality monitors, really clean sounding, flat response, flat frequency and phase response, linear phase response, Meyer monitors. And we do manage we try not to put the instruments everywhere, right? I just put what? We put organ, keys. We don't even put drums on stage, right? And vocals. So yeah, you manage what needs to only put there. So when you first set up your monitors, what I would do, this is me, I don't start putting stuff in there like in a CD. No, I give them what they ask for, and that's it. With vocals being the dominant, because instruments they can crank up. Vocals you can't. You can only go so loud before your voice blows out. So set the vocals first. Tuck the instruments underneath it. And Kurt will ask for more and more keyboard.